Good morning. Welcome back. Delgado's Rants. Yours truly, Joe Delgado, your everything coach, the person or the organization that's going to work with you to change this world. That's what we need. This is the show that hopefully gets you inspired, gets you retooling the ways that we can make a positive impact. Because if you're like me, you're seeing everything just go downhill when we shouldn't be. You know, if you do a job for 40 years, you should be better at the job at the end of the 40 years than you were when you started, right? Same thing here. We been on this planet for thousands of years. We should be continuously going up. And although there's a lot of, brush stroke ideas that we are going upward, I am a firm believer that we're not. So we talk about concepts, we talk about ideas, we talk about thoughts that maybe you haven't heard before, or a different way of looking at things. Maybe this gets you a good conversation later in the day. Maybe you talk with your spouse, with someone, or maybe you just talk with your dog just out loud. So you start to roll through some creative thoughts. Because everything I talk about in this show is literally things that, wow, like that happened to me. Like I never thought about that way. I actually just had another idea for an episode, which I'm gonna make sure I do. I'm just gonna take a note. Today I want to talk about cash is trash. And this actually is pumping through me right now, even more than ever before. I'm even wearing a shirt, Cash is King, or Cash Flow is King. That is from Grant Cardone. Not affiliated with him whatsoever. He's just changed my life, so maybe he can change yours. Maybe I can be the life-changing event that happened with me, with him, to you. He talks about this all the time, though. Cash is trash. Cash flow is king. Cash flow is the holy grail. And I am living, breathing it right now. For those of you who don't know, I'm looking to sell my homes, and I'm looking to move. Because for the longest time, I was strapped down to a career. You know, you do this, you do that, you be here at this time, blah, blah, blah. I no longer have that. I have broken free of the shackles of that world, and I started becoming an entrepreneur and working for myself, so I have freedom. All I need is a camera, a computer, internet, and a place for my dog to sleep, and maybe myself. But I'm looking to move, so I'm searching for places, and I'm like, hey, what if I pay you 12 months in advance? Before I started this venture, I was like, hey, if I'm a landlord myself, and if anyone came up to me and was like, hey, I'll pay you 12 months, boom, here's a check, I would most likely be like, yeah, okay, sweet. I'm guaranteed I don't have to worry about them not paying late, whatever. And if they have $12,000, $15,000 on hand, they're obviously doing something well with money. It might be unethical, but that is what I'm going to talk about. Cash is trash. Guess what happened when I was asking to pay in advance? No, we don't do that. That's not going to change any of the application process. We don't give you any discounts for that. You just, if you want to, you just pay the portal, and that's it. Like, this is a perfect example on the idea that a large sum of cash doesn't build trust. I actually specifically called a property management company. I asked them, I was like, hey, do you actually accept if I pay in advance? They're like, yeah, we do. And I just have to double check and make sure that, of some things, but we should be able to still honor all of that. I was like, great, cool. And I was like, well, because of that, would I be able to get a discount? You know, you're prepaying. And she was like, yeah, unfortunately not. We take the full payment from you, and that is our background check, credit check. That's us deeming you to be a quality tenant. And boom, right there, just fireworks. Cash flow builds trust, right? It does a lot of other things, but this specific metric, this specific area, this specific thing that I'm talking about is trust. Cash flow does so many different things. It builds, in this aspect, in this area, is building trust. Because you got to think, a large sum of money, the opposing person is like, well, how did you get this money? Are you able to obtain this amount of money again? Are you lying, cheating, stealing, laundering money? And then you have all this money to pay this one time. Are you able to pay for utilities? Yeah, if you just got a place to stay, but what if you're letting other unethical, unquality people, or lower quality people, I guess, live with you? That's going to punch holes through the wall, whatever. Cash flow is going to show that you're working a job, you're having responsibility, and that kind of angers me because I'm like, people are kind of almost assuming that I'm not trustworthy, which, look at me, am I trustworthy? I think I am. Credit Karma tells me that I have made every payment on time, so boom, there you go. But regardless, cash flow is also confidence, right? If you're making money consistently every single month, that's going to build up confidence. You're going to be able to have the cojones, the fortitude to be able to just go out in the world and fucking get your kill and bring it home and be able to use it, right? And because whatever mishaps, whatever adversity steers your way, you can just turn on the skill that you have because you developed this over time. I mean, this is the reason why I left my career, my multiple six-figure career, to work for myself. I had that confidence because I've built a trust up in myself for the cash flow events that I was able to create. So you got to reposition. You can't hate money. I mean, if you're hating money, that's a whole nother. I have a video about that. Don't hate money. Talking about Sarah Blakely, how she created a company from scratch. 20 years later, $1.4 billion. She sells it to buy back time, right? So money doesn't buy happiness whatsoever, absolutely. But anyone telling you not to be doing activities and to be revenue driven is just, they need a slap in the face to come to reality. You need income no matter what. And this, again, is a proven, my experience right now is proven to validate that. You need constant flows of cash in order to be able to do anything. Because if at the end of the day, if I sell this house, but no one will take large sums of money, I won't have a place to live. Like, that's the cold hard truth. And this is just one small example, but just no matter what, you need to be revenue driven on activities, because no matter what, we live in a capitalist environment. We look at what's happening with Russia right now. Everything that's happening bad, it's terrible, right? But guess what large companies are doing and responding to kind of leverage the stopping of it. They're pulling out, they're restricting funds. They are eliminating and shutting down businesses. Cash flow, right? To influence something. That's how significantly important it is. If you don't have cash flow coming in, what will you do? Right? You will do things that you wouldn't normally do if cash flow just was bottlenecked or siphoned off. You don't got anything, boom. Like you're gonna operate differently. And that's the key thing. If you're broken mentally, spiritually, physically, right, and someone gave you, if you won $1 million, you're gonna lose it. That's why free doesn't work. A free product doesn't work. I talk to some people and I give them experiences and whatnot, especially about their health. And they're like, yeah, I got to do that. I got to try that. And then they don't. But if I turn around and charge for that product, it gives them skin in the game. They give up something, and that means that it's more of a tangible thing for them. But back to my earning $1 million or winning $1 million, if you are mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually broke, let's say if I give you $10, if you don't know how to use $10 to the full capacity, it doesn't matter how many zeros you add to that one. It's going to be the same. It's like a sales process. You trying to sell $250,000 aviation equipment is the same as you trying to sell a $30 sign up. It's a conversation. You might have to be more presentable, but at the end of the day, you don't think the way that you have to be presentable of selling the $250,000 product wouldn't help you or influence success when you're selling $30 sign up or a product? So why not act that you're selling a multi-million-dollar product all the time, and then boom, no matter what you're selling, and you'll get better results and all of that. What I mean on all of this is that you need to have it's all mindset. Like everything I talk about, and I know I go off on tangents and I throw and I get all worked up with energy. And it's sometimes really hard to just pull back the layers and get to real nuggets, like the cold hard nuggets. Because in my mind, everything I'm saying is golden because it makes sense to me. Because I've been experiencing it and going through it. And if this is all new to you, this is just most likely going over your head. So I'm sorry about that, but I'm not at the same time. What you need to do is just listen to this content over and over again. That's what I do. I read books, listen to books all the time, which reminds me, I hope you're reading books. You just gotta do that. But cash is trash, cash flow. You need steady flows of cash flow, and you need to learn how to get steady flows of cash flow. You need to learn how to sell, negotiate. You need to know how to communicate with anyone. And just because someone's a certain way, you're just going to walk away from that. You need to be able to be a chameleon and just move around and be like an amoeba. But if you don't know how to handle a $40,000 a year salary to make things work, you're not going to be able to make a $400,000 salary work, $4 million. I know this is a terrible thing to say, probably. That concept alone, it's usually adding zeros. Like trying to go into investing. If you're trying to do $100 investment, you're just moving numbers around. But the thing is, the $100 investment is going to get you pennies, right? More on that to come for sure, but you need to be embraced on the idea. You need to look at money. You need to not hate money. You need to understand that money is a necessity no matter what. It's just like food. It's just like the oxygen we breathe, unfortunately. Some company out there or government just hasn't came up with the concept of charging us for the oxygen we breathe. Maybe they do with the greenhouse gas. So they charge us taxes to clean up the oxygen so it improves our lives, right? But I mean, income is needed just like everything else we need. The microbes that we need, the food that we consume, the sunlight that we need, the relationships, the laughter, the smiling, all of that is valuable as income. We need income coming in as flows and not just lump sums. Because again, if you get a lump sum and if you don't know how to deal with $10, you won't know how to deal with $1 million. So it's better off having that $1 million protected somewhere and it's giving you a stream. That's the difference. If you were to win $1 million, you would be better off taking that $1 million, giving it to real estate. Let's say I love real estate. But let's say if it's a real estate investment for you get 4% return. So that means $1 million, you are making $40,000 a year. So many people are going to say that's terrible. $1 million now or $40,000 a year. Well, if you want $1 million and you're working a job, let's say you're making $40,000 a year right now. You take that $1 million, you throw into an asset, and it's protected. You can't destroy it. You're not going to go out and buy a home and not be able to afford to maintain it. Buy a Lamborghini just to show off. Go on a trip just to enjoy yourself for a couple of weeks. Quit your job just because everyone's telling you to. You're going to continue working that job, making $40,000 a year, and then you're going to get paid $40,000 a year passively. So when you do go on vacation, you're making money or earning money. And then you just doubled your income. And then eventually, most likely, that $1 million spits out 1.5, 2, 2.5 million. And then you turn around and you do it again. And instead of $40,000 a year that you're getting, you're earning 80 or 100,000 a year without doing a thing, without lifting a finger. And then eventually, so far, that happens again. It just multiplies. See, that's the difference. You're multiplying money this way instead of destroying it. That's what the difference between a large sum of money and cash flow. You got to figure out a way that's going to produce you money. I talk about this that you're a business. Your ability to produce cash flow is an asset. You are the asset in that aspect. You are the real estate. Right? You are the home or apartment complex. Are you shooting out streams of income? If you're not, then you got to reassess. I talk about this planner. Lo and behold, you got to get it. Change your life. All right, let me know what your thoughts are. What would you do with $1 million today if you were gifted $1 million? I want to know. Comments down below. Message me. Let's collab. Maybe we can do one of these episodes together. I'm excited. Follow us everywhere. Indestructible Me. Change the mind. Change the world, baby. Thank you for tuning in. And always be great.